It's nonsense. Professor warns Lords Brexit votes will have these consequences for May. The furious Brexiteer professor and Ukip founder said the Lords' attitude to Brexit is absolute nonsense, warning peers could ultimately scupper Britain's negotiating position with the European Union. Speaking to RT, Professor Sked said, "It's absolute nonsense. What they are doing is just trying to stop Brexit. I mean, whatever excuses they give, whenever they say they have got the best interests of the people at heart they believe the best interest of the British people would be that if Brexit were reversed. And that's what in practice they are trying to do. They are very angry that all their amendments were defeated last week in the House of Commons. So they are putting all their eggs in this one basket on this amendment for a meaningful vote, and the fate of the government could depend on which way it goes." The meaningful vote is back in the Commons on Wednesday, and Professor Sked said he has no idea what the outcome of the vote will be. Mr. Sked said, "Will the government make it a vote of no confidence? I doubt it. But if they made it a vote of confidence, then Tory MPs who rebelled could have the whip withdrawn or could be deselected. That would be a help." He added, "If this goes ahead, she will have no leverage with the European Union. She will be absolutely pitilessly powerless. She can't threaten anything. The European Commission will know that whatever she threatens, if they say no, if she walked away, then her friends in the House of Lords and the Commons will say, well, we will take over negotiations." Last week, Mrs. May managed to persuade potential rebels to back down on the meaningful vote amendment scheduled by Mr. Grieve, demanding measures be put in place to avoid the UK leaving with no deal. But the Tory rebels later rejected the wording to the government's version of the amendment and said it would give MPs no chance to prevent a no-deal Brexit if there is no agreement with Brussels by January 21, 2019. Rebel MP Anya Soubry said the last-minute change to the wording of the amendment was unforgivable and very disappointing. In response to the change, former Attorney General Dominic Grieve said despite being aware of the possible catastrophic consequences of his actions, he would pursue a vote against the government's Brexit bill next week if concessions are not made before then. The former Attorney General told BBC Sunday Politics, "We could collapse the government. And I assure you I wake up at 2 a.m. in a cold sweat thinking about the problems that we have put on our shoulders. The problem is that the Brexit process is inherently risky. Really risky. Risky to our economic well-being, to our international relationships, and ultimately to our national security." The Tory MP denied sabotaging Brexit was his end goal despite a torrent of criticism from Brexiteers. But when the government's meaningful vote amendment was sent back to the Lords on Monday, peers voted by 354 to 235 for an amendment which will give MPs a greater say if the government fails to achieve an acceptable Brexit deal by the end of January 2019. The amendment was tabled by Lord Hailsham after Mr. Grieve demanded MPs should be given the power to have a vote on the final Brexit outcome.